State Rep. Jeff Deal and distinguished professor at Touro University, Thane Rosenbaum, is with us this morning. Great to have you all on. Thane, I want to start with you just for the legal perspective on this whole thing. The use and the implementation of the racketeering statute, RICO, as it's more commonly known. Can you take us through how the DA there in Fulton County is trying to use this and apply this in this case?
So, Rob, the basic idea is in America, you're not charged with a crime unless there's a demonstration, proof that there's an overt act that you committed and a crime resulted. The reason you apply RICO is in order to connect the dots between a lot of people who may never have been in the same room together, who may not even know each other, but we're all engaged in some act, some independent, separate act that somehow was advancing a common goal. So you have 19 different people. There you go. You have 19 different people. Some of them have never been in the same room. Some of them have never talked to each other. You use RICO. That's why you're going to hear the words criminal enterprise. You're going to hear that repeatedly from the Georgia DA. She's saying they are part of an enterprise, even though they never met in the same room. They all did different things. They tweeted, they got on the telephone, they put on some pressure of people, they lied about certain things, and all of it was designed to overturn the election. And so that is the focus on RICO, as opposed to what we saw in Washington, D.C., where you only had one defendant, Donald Trump, and they did not include the RICO statute because you don't need a RICO statute if you're going only after one person.
Right.
You need RICO if you're dealing with other states and other people.
Yeah, the accusation seems like it's basically that Trump was trying to run a criminal enterprise to change the results of the election in the state of Georgia.
Yeah. Kelly, I want to talk about the political implications because we've seen with the last 3 indictments, President Trump, his poll ratings keep going up. Record fundraising for him. How do you see this playing out? Because this actually backfire on Democrats.
Well, you know, Allison, as you said, all of the preceding indictments have led to higher fundraising numbers, higher poll numbers for Donald Trump. But it also is problematic for Donald Trump, and it's led to higher legal bills and legal fees. And what we're going to have to watch out for is when these court dates are set. Is Alvin Bragg coordinating with Fani Willis, and are they coordinating with Jack Smith to kind of draw out all of these legal proceedings in front of big events on the campaign trail in order to suppress Donald J. Trump's ability to campaign for president of the United States in 2024? And that's the real big question. And that's what I have for Thane. Can these prosecutors speak to one another and kind of coordinate their timelines so that Donald Trump is wrapped up in legal proceedings throughout 2023 and 2024?
Well, that's a good question. And the answer is, remember last night when the prosecuting attorney was asked, are you in discussions with Jack Smith? She said no, which is surprising. You would think she would have been. There's no law that would have prevented her from speaking to each other. And it just seemed to me, frankly, a little suspicious. The fact that there are 19 defendants, in my mind, makes it impossible. She said she wanted a speedy trial. There is no speedy trial. One of the reasons why Jack Smith only included Donald Trump in his indictment is because he was looking for a speedy trial. He didn't want to complicate it with more defendants. But in theory, yes, they could have him hopping from courtroom to courtroom and courtroom. And I suspect this is part of a wider strategy. And guess what? I think what you're asking me is, what do I really think is that, have they all been in contact with each other? Of course. I think the Manhattan DA has been in contact. They're all 4 of these cases. All of the prosecutors have been in touch with each other. And I'm sure that they've received calls from the Democratic National Committee to see, can we tie up the president?
And Jeff, you know, the rules don't apply to Democrats. 240 years of president does not apply if your name's Donald Trump. In history, I just get the feeling that historians are going to look back at this a century from now and laugh at where we were as a country and just how truly pathetic this all really is.
I mean, it's crazy. As soon as Trump was elected, his offices were wiretapped. Everybody knows it was a false Russia collusion theory that allowed them to try to dig into him. And this continues even through the 2020 elections. All he was doing, he tweeted. That was his biggest crime, saying that he felt that he won the election. But at the same time, you've got an Illinois police captain who is being part of this indictment. This is a crazy circus that is intended to basically tie Donald Trump up, as we know. But the other thing, too, I was just curious from Thane, you've got 6 months to do discovery and depositions from 19 people or 20 people. Is that even possible?
Yeah, I can't imagine. Again, this is a very fact-detailed indictment. The one in D.C. was very law-based. It was in a creative attempt to use criminal statutes in a way that really haven't been used before. That's not what's happening here. This is very detailed. This tweet, that comment, this statement, that person, this was what he did, this is what she did. That requires an incredibly meticulous presentation of evidence. And you're right, you're dealing with lots of evidentiary objections. You've got lawyers here. There's attorney-client privilege. Technically, you're not allowed to, these are sacred conversations between an attorney and his or her client. This is going to be a mess for them to untangle, and I don't see how they can do it in 6 months.
Thane, just a quick one here. It appears that the goal, at least right now, is to get a conviction and get Donald Trump behind bars, even if it's Election Day. What's wild is that, let's say Trump is the nominee. If he loses to Joe Biden or whomever else is the Democratic nominee in November 2024, he's staying in jail because there is no pardon in the state of Georgia. You have to serve at least 5 years before a pardon would be possible, meaning, let's say somebody else, Ron DeSantis or whomever on the Republican side is elected president, they wouldn't have the ability to pardon President Trump. Is that accurate?
You're absolutely right. These are state crimes. Pardoning or even telling the Justice Department to back off doesn't matter here. This is not the Justice Department. This is the state of Georgia and a prosecutor in Georgia. The better question, Rob, to ask yourself is, can you redecorate a jail cell and make it look like the Oval Office?
Yeah.
Because there is nothing in the Constitution that prevents Donald Trump from serving as president of the United States from a jail cell if that's the will of the American people, if they're prepared to vote for somebody that's under criminal indictment, as in convicted in Georgia, and is sitting in a jail in Atlanta. There's nothing to stop him from serving as president from that jail cell.
Yes, but what's changed this morning is now it is White House or bust, or obviously door number 2 would be winning the case. And he's got a very good chance at that. We'll leave it there. Jeff Deal, Kelly Sadler, Thane Rosenbaum, we appreciate it. I want to